go over what are some of the biggest misconceptions buyers and sellers have with home inspectors and home inspections? I know that I just had this scenario happen on a showing recently where um, it was suggested that the home inspector, has an interest in the property closing, and maybe would not point out certain things in order to just get that process moving along. And obviously, it took care of that and explained that to that particular person, but I know you have to hear a lot of stuff as well. So just wondering, what are the biggest misconceptions that you hear?
Yeah. Well, first and foremost, thanks. Thanks for addressing that right on the front end, with that client that's showing. There is a misconception out there that we work for you as the realtor,
Yep.
Brianna, right? And that we're there to help make that transaction go smoothly. And um, I'm going to go out on a limb here and probably say that one of your biggest challenges as a realtor is me, the home inspector.
Yeah.
And
I actually hate you. No, just kidding.
that's okay. That's all right. Um, no, we work for the client that hires us. And I think the easiest way to describe this is there is and there should not be a conflict of interest there. And that's in your scenario that you described, that would be a conflict of interest if I was there to do an inspection, but I only got paid if it went to closing.
Mhm.
And so that's one of the reasons why, as a home inspector, my payment is not tied to closing.
Right.
Right. And so I work for the client. I work for the person that calls and hires me to go through and do that inspection. So, I think that's one of the first misconceptions. Um, the second misconception there would be we're all the same as home inspectors. And I think, yes, we all have standards in the state of Wisconsin. We are credentialed through the Department of Safety and Professional Services, and we're supposed to follow the same standards. But the difference is a lot of, and I shouldn't say a lot of us, there's a handful of us in our market that we work in, Brianna, if we're going to go that micro with it,
Mhm.
who are doing education every month. We're sitting around a table, we're listening to pros, whether it be HVAC pros or builders or indoor air quality experts or um, pest management companies. We're sitting down and we're listening to them every month to help become better inspectors. So we know what to look for and we know how to call things out. Um, and there's an old adage, and it's certainly true in our industry, but 20% of your industry is going to be doing 80% of the work in that market. And I
Mhm.
think that's true, because when I look around the table every month, I'm only seeing about 20% of our inspectors actively engaging and trying to learn.
Yeah.
And I think we're probably going to bleed into your other question that you had for me about, how do you figure out who you should use and shouldn't use as an inspector?
Yep.
And do you mind if I just jump into that right away?
No, go ahead.
Okay. A lot of times when I get a phone call and it's a client that comes through, and the first question out of their mouth is, "What do you charge?" I'm probably not your guy.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you that right on the phone. Really, honestly, that should be your last question. If you're looking at hiring a home inspector to come do an inspection, save that question for the end. Um, you want to learn more about not only what experience that home inspector has, what background are they bringing to the table, but how engaged in their career are they? So, are they
Yep.
active with a local association? Are they active with a national association? Are they on a leadership commission someplace within those associations? Are they doing the monthly education that I just talked about? Do they hold certifications outside of their licensure through DSPS? If you can ask some of those questions, you're going to generate a conversation. And, realistically, if that inspector isn't willing to spend some time with you on the phone on the front end, they're probably not that likely to spend some time with you on site talking to your house. And they're
Yep.
also probably not likely to answer your phone call after you move in if you've got a question you want to talk about.
I love that you said that. So I had been in the business for a couple years before I met you and had the first inspection with you. And it was a very clear and obvious difference from what I was used to seeing, um, right away. not only just everything you just touched on, but the resources that you provide, like it was very clear up front that you do the continuing education, that you are going to be a resource to not only me and the client during the transaction, but also afterwards as well, providing them all of those materials, that YouTube channel that you linked, just everything that you provide to them just shows that you do take pride in it. And just like it matters who you choose to work with as a real estate agent, it matters who you choose as a home inspector to just going through things, and also someone that's able to talk through things with you. So like you said, sometimes our relationship could be the hardest because you are being the pessimist and bringing up all the issues and things that we have to deal with. But on the back end, you're really able to communicate that stuff really well with the clients in a way that they're able to understand, I'm able to understand. And that just helps me work through the problems with the buyers, and it helps calm them. This is a stressful process and very emotional one at that. So yeah,
Yeah.
really
You
appreciate
know,
you.
yeah, absolutely. And I always remind myself, there are guys out there who are just here to collect a paycheck, right? Let me get in, let me do the inspection, let me fill out the report, let me send it off to you.
Yep.
But this is likely one of the top 3, top 5 financial outlays that somebody's going to make in their life, right?
Yep.
It's so incredibly important when you go into that you go into it with an education focused inspector who can lay the foundation for you, who can help you figure out, this is what I've got moving forward, and this is how I should manage it, shouldn't manage it. And if we want to absorb that information, we got to be able to communicate on a level that we all make sense of.
Yes.
So I appreciate that. I do. You're right. I put a lot of effort into trying to make sure that what I'm presenting to you and to the client is palatable, is something that makes sense. And I think the unwritten rule of homes, and I love this. I saw this on a sign up north from a mechanic shop when I was up there visiting with my family. Everything
Yeah.
is figure outable.
Everything.